All right, guys, welcome to a special episode of What the Fuck. I'm going to play this video, and as I cast this video, I had certain expectations in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go and just sort of talk about what's going on here as we move through this video. So the first thing is that you can see my fighters are refueling here. They've already had an engagement with this particular group of fighters. I took out 9 of them, and he took out 7 of me, right? Because I have superior numbers, and usually when you have superior numbers, you will take out more of them than they take out of you. So I've already sort of won this battle of 24 fighters versus 2 fighters decisively, right? So I am refueling now. Now what's happening here is my 24 fighters are on the ground refueling. That's a new mechanic. That's something we haven't dealt with before. And all of a sudden, in comes this 15 stack, right? And this 15 stack seems like 15 bombers, but it's not. It's 9 bombers and 6 fighters. And they're going to attack in 18 minutes. But I'm going to be done refueling in 2 minutes. So what I do is I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and attack this stack of bombers and fighters coming at me with my fighters. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the game in the meantime, right? So the great thing about casting is you can sort of move forward in time. You will notice I have some bombers attacking over here to these stacks of, so I have some other things going on with my Air Force. Bombers attacking over. Got some bombers up north that are also coming down to attack as well. But that's secondary. That's kind of secondary to what's going on right here. This is something I have a major problem with, right? So we notice that that my fighters are going to be done refueling in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and the bombers are attacking me. So you have a situation where 9 bombers and 6 fighters are attacking 24 fighters, which is, on the face of it, absurd. You would never do that. You would never do that because fighters attack in the air and bombers attack on the ground. And bombers should never attack fighters. Never, never, never. So I pause the game here and come back as soon as I'm ready to attack here. And you can see I've refueled. I've already left the ground, and I'm about 55 minutes away from attacking this stack of 9 bombers and 6 fighters. So here we go. I am 42 seconds away from attacking, and I just want people, this was intended to be a tutorial video about how air units work. So here's the crazy thing. As hopefully I zoom in here, but I'm not actually controlling this. This is a video I previously recorded. So yeah, now we see there are 9 bombers and 6 fighters in that opponent's stack and 24 fighters in my stack, right? So the inevitable here is going to happen, right? So like fighters attack with way more power than do your bombers, in terms of air power, right? So we talk about that in just a minute as well. So we wait a minute. We have 9 bombers, 6 fighters, and it takes a minute for this whole thing to sort of flow through. But when it does, boom, down 3 bombers, down 3 fighters. So instead of 9-6, now it's 6-3. And this is what should happen in an air battle between fighters and bombers. I mean, especially a big group of fighters like that, right? So at this point now, I'm kind of trying to look at my fighters that are weirdly behind the stack of bombers, but also trying to talk to my viewers about how air battles work. Do not engage fighters with bombers. It's weird that he attacked me with his bombers, right? So anyway, I'm clicking around here. I'm trying to find out how to. We're talking here about the strength here. So the attack damage of these bombers is 32 on the ground and 15 in the air, right? So this particular combination of fighters and bombers, 32 on the ground, right? But only 15 in the air. So I go over and I look at my fighters here, and it took me a while to click on it because it's weird. I'm not sure why. And as I zoom in, it's like still hard to tell. But 32 on the ground, 15 in the air. and I click somewhere else and finally get back to it. And so instead of 32 on the ground and 15 in the air, my fighters have, right, only 17 on the ground, but 88 in the air because they're fighters. They're designed to attack other aircraft. So the fact that the bombers would engage with a fighter stack is weird. Unless this weirdest of all weird things can happen to you. So the bombers are going to attack me in 3 minutes, right? So they're still getting ready to attack me. So I'm pausing here. And now the bombers are about to attack me, and I just skipped forward 3 minutes here. So they're going to attack me in 35 seconds. And I'm just kind of curious to see what will happen here. Now, maybe you notice what I didn't notice the first time. And let me just back this up just a little bit. Now I'm backing up the video. This is a video that I was live casting, and I didn't notice a couple things about it at first. But let's go ahead and replay here. Back it up. So we pause the game and we bring it back. Oh, no, I'm still clicking and trying to give you the information about my fighters. And but here I want to go ahead and bring it back. Okay, so here we are. We're back. And what do you notice about my fighters? Look at them down there. Look at it. They're on the ground. Okay, so in the 3 minutes from when I just attacked and destroyed them, don't forget I was refueling before this, right? I was refueling before this and then had to take flight to attack them. I'm on the ground now in that 3 minutes. So let's continue on. 22 fighters versus 6 bombers and 3 fighters. And so I'm trying to show a lesson here of like, why would a bomber group attack a fighter group? That's dumb, right? 24 seconds out. Let's see what happens. What I don't understand is this new mechanic of refueling. The refueling forced my fighters onto the ground right before a bomber attack. Now, we already established that the bombers are devastating on the ground. So without any ability to defend or control or reroute, he destroys all 22 of my fighters. Look at that. So I want to let that sink in. So the new mechanics for Air Force are huge and very luck driven. Like the way he attacked in there, he didn't mean for that to happen. He just attacked in with his bombers and his fighters thinking I'll attack his Air Force with my Air Force. And what happened was a weird, random sort of situation where for whatever reason, my fighters attacked and then landed to refuel. And then he bombed them on the ground where, on the ground, fighters are defenseless. They have, terrible ground defense. So I am officially objecting to this. This is bullshit. Like, honestly, if you want our air forces to compete against each other, that's great. But let's eliminate random, weird, coincidental sort of chance events from it. And let's make it real. Like, let's make it honest and real. I lost 22 fighters. Honestly, like, I think I'm going to archive this game now because, I've been building up this defensive force of fighters that, I brought head to head against this group coming in. And look, I don't know why his fighters in this group didn't have to stop and refuel somewhere. I guess, part of me is thinking this. If my fighters had come from an airfield far away, they would have returned to that airfield to refuel. And it would have taken him longer to get there. I don't know. But the idea here is that now I don't even know what to do. I really don't. Like, now I'm officially reconfused about air. And I like the cone dynamics and I like the idea of refueling. I really do. But can you give me some control over where I refuel? Like, do I have to refuel directly underneath the bombers? Do I have to refuel immediately after attacking the bombers? That's another very confusing thing to me, is that if you're telling me that I take off, attack the bombers, and then land, and then the bombers kill me, then fighters no longer are powerful. Just forget them. Um, if I'm a bomber, I'm going to attack every fighter group I see, because they'll get the first attack on me, right? And they'll take a few bombers out. And you saw 6 bombers and 3 fighters, and the 3 fighters weren't a part of that, right? Because they don't attack land very well. So 6 bombers took out 22 fighters. So as of right now, as far as I'm concerned, fighters suck. So in the new mechanic, if fighters are in the air, attack them. Go ahead and attack them, because then, like, they'll have to refuel, and then you'll kill them on the ground. This is horrible. This is WTF to a huge degree. And again, I think this game, I've been playing this game really well up till this point. You know, I've got 20 bombers. I had 22 fighters. I had 22 fighters. And then my 22 fighters got taken out by 6 bombers because of a weird new game mechanic where they landed on the ground right in front of the bombers after attacking the bombers, right? And then got killed. So I'm sorry, my dudes. Like, I'm not okay with this. I'm honestly like, Bitro needs to figure this shit out, because when I lose 22 bombers, like, look, I could have lost, I don't know, 10? I don't even know. Like, I could have lost some of them, but my entire defensive air network gets wiped out by bombers who are attacking fighters. Look, they're coming from all the way over here. So all these fighters in this group, they don't have to refuel. They come all the way over there and then all the way back. No, there's something broken about this system. And I was supportive of it until it bit me in the ass. And here's the thing. Let me pause this again. Here's the thing, is that oftentimes when I'm playing this game, I'll come back and, like, my bombers are gone, or I'll come back and my fighters are gone. And I'm not really sure why, but I kind of trust the system of, like, oh, my bombers must have landed and then they were attacking in. And sometimes that is what happens, is that, you know, my bombers land and then the invading force comes in and just kills them on the ground. And I respect that. That's kind of, you know, that's okay. I have to be careful about where I attack from, what airfield I attack from, and so forth. I get that. One of the things I would like to have is I would like to have the ability to take my fighters or bombers and route them to an airfield, and then from there add a target to another place. So in other words, what I'm saying is that as of right now, if I want to attack a place, I just have to attack straight over, even if it's a vulnerable airfield. So what I would love to see, and this is, you know, given the idea that, like, look, we have lives, we have jobs, we have to sleep, you know, like, I would love it if I could take my air units and send them to an airfield that is safe, and then from there have them attack into a territory, which, by the way, you can do with land units. You can do that right now with the added attack unit command. So I would love to see that. Second of all, what is this bullshit where my fighters fly up into the air, kill 3 bombers and 3 fighters, and then land and all get killed by 6 bombers? Like, what is that bullshit? I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I don't approve of it. Obviously, I'm butthurt at this point in time. But dude, 22 fighters, like, oh. And here's the thing. As I play the rest of this video, like, I left this game and came back thinking that maybe, you know, some sort of glitch was happening where you couldn't see my fighters. Like, look, I left and went over to another game and then came back, literally thinking, like, there's no way that 6 bombers and 3 fighters could take out 22 bombers. And then at some point I did in the replay, and see, here I am coming back to the game thinking, okay, I'll reset it and then, you know, it'll be okay. At some point I realized that my fighters were on the ground. So literally, you saw it. Um, my fighters were refueling. They took off, they attacked, and then, like, within 3 minutes, landed again and got killed. Like, why? And then here I am looking for my fighters, like, where are they? Surely they're around here somewhere. Like, 22 fighters don't just land in front of some bombers and wait for them to destroy them. Like, what is happening? So yeah, I was super upset about that. I'm still wondering what to do about this game. Like, it's a huge battle. You can tell I've got some major stuff going on over here. Um, and you can tell a lot of cannon coming in here, but I'm countering with 20 bombers. It's like the Air Force was going to be hugely critical in this battle, and I lost 22 fighters, to this new mechanic. So I don't know. Guys. Let me know what you think. I know that Bytro is trying to do their best to really make a realistic sort of experience of World War One. And planes did have to land to refuel. There's no question about that. But I don't know how I could have done that better. I sent 22, I think at the time, 31 fighters against 11 of his fighters, and I beat them. And he only had 2 fighters left, so I decided then these other bombers were coming in, and so I sent my fighters against them, and they trounced them, of course, in the air. And then they landed, and they all died screaming. And so, to me, I know that kind of thing happened. For instance, in Pearl Harbor, a lot of the U.S. aircraft was destroyed on the ground. Like, that stuff happens, but there should be some user control of that. Like, I had no control over that. As far as I was concerned, I was taking 22 fighters on the ground and instructing them to attack a small force of bombers that they should have easily defeated. And then right after they took off, after refueling, right? They refueled, they took off, they attacked, they killed 3 bombers and 3 fighters, and then they landed and died. Like, they landed right under them and died. And so I guess my main question is, if you look at this group came from way to the south, like way far to the south. So these 3 fighters, rather, who used to be 6, right? Those 6 fighters flew all the way over here to the furthest extent of their fuel. And then they fought a battle here with my 22 fighters, right? And then now they're going to fly all the way back. Whereas my fighters took off from here, fought a battle, landed, and then died on the airfield. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm not okay with it, obviously. So this is something that I do want to talk to Bytro about. I do want to be able to complain about it. But, guys, maybe you have some input into this. Maybe you have some insight into this. Like, maybe there's something I'm not seeing in terms of game mechanics that make this okay, right? Like, but the thing is, like, I watched this in real time, so this isn't like I went to sleep and woke up and, oh, my fighters are gone. Like, I watched it in real time. Like, there's nothing I could have done differently. They force landed my planes underneath the bombers to refuel, and then the bombers killed all my fighters. And there was nothing I could do about it. There was nothing that I could have understood beforehand. There was nothing that I could have planned about beforehand, as far as I can tell, except to maybe rebase my fighters somewhere else. But I didn't know that was even an issue. So, you can tell I'm pissed. All right, guys, I'm going to end this video, and let me know what you think, honestly, because I am curious. This is an evolving game. It's a very complex game, and I do love it. I do love this game. But I also really kind of want it to be fair, right? Like, I kind of want it to be reasonable and something that we can all expect would be realistic, right? I mean, that's what we want. So, all right, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go ahead and let go of this, stop crying, and yeah, fill me in. What do you think, guys? All right, adios, amigos.